To the Thunder for Russell Westbrook in hopes that it would finally help Houston make it over the hump and reach the finals. Now those two are facing off in the first round, and Chris Paul got the last laugh last night with 28 points and the win to force a Game 7. It was only Westbrook's second game this postseason, but he has scored just 24 points combined in the two games. And put the injury aside, Shannon, who is the better player, Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook?
Is this a trick question?
Nope.
Russ.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea where you were going with this.
Russ.
I thought you were going to say CP3.
No, because I'm not gonna overreact to two games. CP3 averaged this year 17 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Russ was 27, 8, and 7, playing alongside James Harden. The difference is CP3's value is more built in leadership.
Yep.
Russ is built in athletic ability, athleticism.
Yep.
There's the difference between the two. But I'm not going to overreact to the last two games and say, oh, because CP3 got the better last night, he's a better player than Russ. No, that's not even close. Once Russ figured out, man, I'm jacking up all these threes because I'm here in Houston. That ain't my game. Let me play my game. Once he cut down on the threes and he says, you know what, I can get to the rack. I'm a mid-range shooter, Skip. From mid-December until the season stopped, he was 31, 8, and 7. That's what he was averaging. So he averaged 27 points playing alongside James Harden. Skip, no, I mean, Russ is the better player, but CP3 has, his value is not only is he a great player, he also has more value in leadership. I believe, that's just me personally, I don't know either one of the guys, but I believe he's a better leader than Russ. And so in that situation, Russ is the better player. That's not even a question. But Chris Paul's value is more leadership. Russ is more athletic ability. But the question was, who's the better player? Russ.
I don't know who came up with this question, but I find it to be a tough question.
No, it ain't tough.
Yep. It was made tough
between CD Lamb and Caleb Chase.
Yeah. That's a tough call. It's made tougher for me because of what I've seen, not only this regular season, but what I saw last night. And I'm being a little bit a prisoner of the moment, but over the years, I've been tough on CP3. I've called him at times CP0, as in 0 rings, and it just feels like he's never going to get a ring, in part because he's only 6 feet tall and he can do only so much.
He would have had one if Commissioner Stern rested his soul, hadn't vetoed that trade to the Lakers, he'd have had a couple.
You could argue, but we'll never know. So I will also admit I've been a little biased against Chris Paul. Love the work he does for the Players Association, but it's always canceled for me by the fact he has this long history of popping opponents in the privates. Well, he does. He goes clear back to
he can go back to college.
ACC. Julius Hodge, remember that?
He got it.
Got thrown out of the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Just smacked him right in the midsection.
I think he got Russ last night, too.
He did.
That was an accident. That was an accident.
And he once got Mark Gasol at the end of an Oklahoma City Clippers Memphis series. And it's like, what are you doing? It's like he got a screw loose, you know? Like, what are you doing? You're the president of the Players Association. You have to resort to that? You want to talk about low blows. Those are low blows. And there have been times when I thought Chris Paul will be remembered more for his State Farm commercials, which are always great, more than what he does in the postseason. Well, then, very early this morning, I'm looking at their whole legacy, both of them. And obviously, as we talked about earlier, Russ went 3 straight years averaging a triple-double. It's a lot about your heart.
Right.
It's your guts. You're playing with a rage every night where you're taking every possession as seriously as anybody ever takes it. And yet, I've often wondered, is he playing to win or playing for stats? Or do you want to win or star? That's what it sort of comes down to. And I'm never sure about Russ. He always says, I just want to win. Well, then maybe you need to figure out how to win, because I still don't know if you've figured it all out. And last night, he definitely had no clue. He had no plan how to get that game home. So we look at Russ. He did win an MVP. He's a 9-time All-Star. He's twice the All-Star Game MVP, which is something on your resume. So he's won 2 scoring titles and 2 assist titles.
Right.
Pretty great.
Pretty good.
To your point, it's about your athleticism.
Yeah.
Because he's not much of a shooter. You're just able to get to the rim at will.
Right.
And to make acrobatic shots at the rim.
Right.
Now let's look at Chris Paul. And this startled me because I'd lost some touch with what he's been doing because he's a 4-time assist champ in the league. That's not bad. He's a 6-time steals champ. That's really good.
Right.
And he's a 9-time all-defensive team player. That's really good.
Yeah.
And he was an All-Star Game MVP, not bad. And he was came up second MVP race back in 2006. I know it's a long time ago, but I remember him well against my Spurs when it was, Duncan Parker and Ginobili. They were scared to death of that Chris Paul in New Orleans.
Right.
Remember that guy?
He put y'all out one year.
Little pit bull that he was. Well, when he was a Clipper,
yeah.
He made a Game 7 shot with a pulled hamstring.
Right.
Well, the other problem with Chris's legacy is he always has a pulled hamstring, and too many times in crucial playoff moments, he's had a pulled hamstring. But I got to tell you, when I look at the totality.
Oh, he has an impressive resume.
Hey, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he does.
And to your point, leadership, there's no question. He wants to win.
Yes.
He knows how to keep a team together. What he pulled off in Oklahoma City this year, it's special.
Yes.
It's an all-timer.
Yeah. Skip, I think the thing is for me is that Chris Paul is an old school point guard. He is a true point guard. A lot of these other guys masquerade as point guards, but they're two guards. You look at Dame, you look at Harden, you look at Russ, you look at a lot of these guys, Skip, they're really twos.
Yeah.
They're masquerading as points. Chris Paul is a point guard in the like Magic, like Stockton, like Jason. He's an old school, assist the basketball first, I'll get my points later. These guys now, Skip, let me get my points, and then, once I get going, I try to facilitate for everyone else. But for me, Skip, I mean, you look at Russ' body of work, you mentioned the 3 straight years of triple-doubles. You look at the All-NBA teams, you look at the MVPs. It's just hard to say. He's the most athletic. It would have been interesting to see had Derrick Rose not gotten injured, because Derrick Rose was as athletic as Russ, maybe more explosive.
I'll buy that. Yep.
And so what he did, so he was really the first explosive point guard that could do all this behind the head dunk and just go to the basket.
Yep.
And then Russ just elevated that.
He did.
But for me, Skip, I think Chris Paul is an unbelievable player, great player. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer. But Russ is a better player than he is.
So if you look at their individual playoff records, just what's your record in every playoff game you played in? Russ is 52-48.
He had a couple of years with Harden and KD up in that thing, too.
That worked, and you got to one final.
Right.
But you had some nightmarish games in the final. In fact, there was the one half after Game 2 that Magic Johnson said on ESPN at that point. It's the worst half of basketball I've ever seen a point guard have in a playoff game.
Right.
Well, that was happening. His numbers at the end of the series looked pretty good, but they got wiped out in 5 games.
Right.
LeBron's first championship, obviously. Okay, so Russ is 52-48. CP3 is 53-55. So he's also had struggles, and he had some star power around him with the Clippers, but
he ain't have what Russ had.
No.
He had KD. So I don't care who you put around Chris Paul. They ain't been KD.
Well, just that one year. And they were all I call them the baby thunder, but they were pretty young.
No, he had KD more than 1 year.
You're talking about
I'm saying for the finals,
Well, at one point, they were up 3-1.
Yes.
But in the end, why did Kevin Durant leave Oklahoma City? It's because of that guy you saw last night, the out-of-control Russell Westbrook, the hell-bent in a bad way Russell Westbrook. That's why he said, KD, I know for a fact, got this from a source very close to